insurance covers loss of limbs.
Mayday, mayday! We've lost the squad!
The old school appeal of Shadow Warrior is somewhat misleading. It might draw inspiration from older pieces, such as Shadow Warrior itself, however its DNA matches primarily games from new school of arena shooters, which became popular later after its release. The king of genre being none the other Doom Eternal, that evolved from already fantastic Doom 2016. You are dropped in arenas with highly aggressive, frequently spawning enemies. Check. You get to use and keep all the weapons, and they have alternative fire modes. Check. The game provides players with advanced movement to match the ferocity of the enemies. Check. And you have special abilities at your disposal akin to those in hero shooters. Check. And while we can certainly appreciate Shadow Warrior's design for many innovative ideas, I don't consider it to be all that great first-person shooter. Because your main form of expression, the guns, are fairly lackluster. The first gun, hand cannon, feels really underwhelming. Enemies barely get staggered by the impact of mighty 50 caliber bullets. And recoil animation causes a delay, reminiscent of playing multiplayer shooter with terrible internet connection. SMG is a pea shooter without any recoil and with similarly exciting stock sound effect. The automatic crossbow is by far my least favorite weapon in the game. It feels like the toy crossbow from Prey 2017 somehow time traveled and landed in Shadow Warrior. Though, maybe it's just a skill issue. Shotgun must hit enemies directly to the face to even do anything. Boomstick should go boom and not pew pew. Flamethrower is, I'd say, an exception to the rule, but it's only thanks to really powerful and satisfying alternative fire mode, no pun intended. And lastly, the rocket launcher feels slow and heavy, so while it's very effective, it doesn't fully match the fierce tempo of the game. Also, where is the nuke?
All systems ready. Warning.
The gunplay has other issues. Why do I have to reload the guns exactly? It especially sucks when I switch to a different weapon just to find out it needs a reload. The gun animations are also tied to weapon switching, so sometimes it takes sweet time before the gear swaps. Sometimes the gun doesn't fire because there is this odd fire rate limit that prevents you from shooting and the game doesn't queue your inputs. And it's no surprise that I bounced off this game 3 times, like it's a well-stretched trampoline.
Something feels off about this.
Oh, hold on a second. Is that a katana? Well, if nothing, at least it's great to see the coolest kind of sword. Actually, you spend the entire first fight in a stylish Kill Bill inspired sequence, chopping goons to mincemeat. The game even forces you to learn and use one of its techniques very early on to unlock doors with it. Odd, but alright I guess. The main protagonist poses with the katana. There are even multiple skins you can choose from, though they are not katanas, but hey, It's cool when developers reference other games they love. Are the flying Baldhog trying to suggest something? Yep. Shadow Warrior is first and foremost a slasher game, only then it's a first-person shooter. All comes together. Your dash allows you to avoid enemy attacks, but you may also close the distance with ease to chop these pesky enemies. There are skills enabling melee-focused build like raw damage or lifesteal from chi techniques, or more indirect gameplay elements such as ghosts. Slain demons sometimes spawn a ghost that heals you if you touch it. That's not very useful for your traditional playstyle. You might as well use the power of healing spell, which is safer and faster. However, if you slice and dice, the ghosts are right under your nose, allowing you to keep your offensive momentum going. Your katana grows stronger whenever you find a piece of mythical Nobitsurakage to keep up with the growing challenge. And oh boy, isn't chopping hordes of invading monsters fun. The katana controls have a surprising amount of depth. You have your classic light and heavy attacks. Parry or block would be a welcome addition, but dashing out of the harm's way will simply have to do. Still, melee attacks are very effective at staggering your adversaries. So, unless we are outnumbered, or the demons get to block or dodge your slashes, which they absolutely can, you are the safest when aggressively chasing the glory of battle. Early on in the game, you receive chi powers. One is healing, which is a must, and one is a taste of poetically named katana techniques. Divider of Heavens is basically a single target thrust with decent range and solid damage. Circle of Iron is a whirlwind of death. It's not as powerful, but perfect if you are surrounded. Or if you are smart enough to get yourself surrounded. Sun Tzu would be proud. And then there is Wing of Crane. It's the only way how to attack from range with the sword, and it pierces through multiple enemies. What I love is how all the techniques serve a different purpose, and none of them renders each other useless. In fact, the basic light and heavy attacks remain viable for the rest of the game because simply slashing produces more damage on paper, but at the same time, using the right attack or right technique at the right time is much more effective. This forces you to actively think and cue the combos in the best possible way to kick ass and chew bubblegum. Create some synergies, you are given additional free powers that you can unlock and upgrade with chi crystals. I guess that's the bubblegum? Those can be used while wielding guns as well. By far the best one is Water Trap. It launches enemies in front of you up in the air and wave those hands like you just don't care. And not only it's a great crowd control tool, it also synergizes very well with Circle of Iron and Wing of Crane. The other two are not so hot. Tiger's Roar is basically art from The Witcher, or Jedi's Force Push. Depends if you're more into fantasy or sci-fi. But it does not offer much advantage compared to Water Trap. The grounded foes are more difficult to hit, there aren't any finishers, and you can't even yeet the enemies from the cliffs or other high spots. Protective Fan is the worst one. It's meant to reduce the damage you take, but dash and heal already sit on that throne. Not to mention that you can't use melee to its full potential while casting it. Katana can absolutely be your primary weapon, and I suggest that you go and invest your effort in mastering it, because yeah, it comes with quite a learning curve, especially if you want to feel like a true master and look good at the same time. But ranged weapons are still a necessary part of your arsenal. Certain enemies, such as harpies, are an ideal target for your shredding submachine gun twins. And towards the end of the game, the challenge ramps up, and using katana against certain foes is ineffective. At least I'm thankful that the two most destructive weapons are the most enjoyable ones. Despite that, I found higher demons, the big boys, to be much tankier than they ought to be. It hurts otherwise great tempo of the game. Now, you may suggest, but Unrealer, wasn't it your conscious decision to play on insane difficulty? Well, yeah, but there are other games, wink wink, that don't suffer from this problem. The first big boy is the Shaman. They raise smaller demons back to life, which is mildly annoying, but other than that, they're mostly harmless, but incredibly tanky, and they keep raising this invincibility shield. The other one, Warlord, doesn't have any iframes, thank god, but is similarly tanky, and tends to immobilize you and pull towards them with a tether. I am okay with the pulling, but getting immobilized in this game, often through the walls, is below average experience. But at least there is a cool trick you can use. At certain point you can have a last stand skill, which works the same way as the Borderlands last stand, and you have a rage, which activates only if your HP is low enough. So get your ass damaged and blast the sucker with rockets. It's very satisfying. The worst offender is the Berserker. It's a charging beast with a weak spot on its back. When it charges at you, it can turn on a bloody dime. What the hell? You can dodge in 5 different directions and it's still gonna get you. They should have called it a homing demon. And check out this next level strategy to kill this guy. Such refined skill and finesse. And wait, that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. The absolutely worst thing in Shadow Warrior are the boss fights. Without an inch of imagination. Boring arenas where you shoot regenerating armor with respawning ammo to uncover a weak spot, to shoot more armor, to uncover the weak spot, to shoot more armor, you get the idea. While dashing endlessly from side to side. Poor carpal tunnels. The only saving grace is that you're allowed to scum save, because you can actually get one shot and the checkpoint saves only at the start of the boss fight. Could you imagine doing this for several hours over and over? I'd rather not play the game at all. Even with scum saving, this one fight in particular took me and took away from me 28 minutes. To end this paragraph on a good note, the game is littered with constant explosive barrels and electric equipment that just waits to be blown up. And that's a massive upside in my book. As Vice Bay once said, one can never have enough explosions. Knowing the original from 1997 was borderline racist, Flying Wild Hog put themselves between rock and a hard place. On one hand, they should honor the original. On the other, you should make the game friendly for the general audience. And I personally don't think that the original was racist, at least they didn't intend to be. Rather, they wanted to make a game themed after Eastern cultures and decided that the stereotypical low-hanging fruit of edgy humor was the way to go. So they harvested all the low-hanging fruit that they could. What comes to my mind is South Park. They also make fun of Asian stereotypes without any restraint, but I doubt that the purpose is to insult, but to entertain.
I'm just a normal person like all you. I eat rice and I drive a really slow just like the rest of you. I'm not a stereotype.
After all, they take shots at literally everyone and anyone. But the question remains. How did Flying Wild Hog fare with the challenge of rebooting such a difficult franchise? And I dare to say, rather well and with grace. While it follows its own path, it has enough references and thematic overlap to deserve the name tag of Shadow Warrior. Is it a perfect game for the fans of the original? No. But that, in my humble opinion, would be a Sisyphean task anyway. Some people find the new Lo Wang.
What was his name? Nautius Maximus. Centurion, do you have anyone of that name in the garrison? Well, no, sir. Well, you sound very sure. Have you checked? Well, no, sir. I think it's a joke, sir. Like, Silius Sodus or Bigger Sticker, sir.
Some people find the new Lo Wang rather annoying. Would it come as a surprise if I told you that he is meant to be annoying? At least a little bit. His newly found sense of humor is a mixed bag for me as well. However, if you stay with the game, it may become apparent why. I am not a professional psychologist, but here is my take. If you pay attention to how the other characters treat Lo, learn who he really is, and put one and one together, the puzzle pieces fit. My observations are as follows. Lo Wang is an extremely capable and dangerous man that works for a mob. But his eccentric and arrogant behavior doesn't make for a great first impression.
Who are you?
You can call me $2 million. Where is the Nobitsura Kage?
Don't insult me. Who do you work for?
Mickey Mouse, Mickey Rourke, does it matter? This is business. You have the sword, I have the cash.
Others can't really attack him when he insults them because that would be really foolish. So instead they opt to a derogatory and possibly aggressive language.
Do you think you could take a little longer? We're really enjoying dying of dehydration in here.
Take a pill, in the docks.
Can you see the manticore from where you are?
What the hell's a manticore?
It's a monster with the body of a lion, the head of a man, sharp teeth, and a scorpion tail.
And there's one here.
It's also the name of a ship. A tanker, actually.
I've seen plenty of ships, but no tankers.
He must be on the other side of the dock.
Figures.
He's doing his best, dear.
Lo also has a passion. It's comic books and obsession with superheroes. his headspace is under a constant occupation of cataclysmic and world-threatening events. Heroes that destroy their foes lyrically with one-liners and physically with superpowers.
5,000 hitmen in this country, and I have to get the nerve? Only to keep your point.
This is my point.
He wants to be a superhero, even though he is an anti-hero. After all, both require a similar skill set, and he has a fistful. But only the opportunistic attitude is what pays bills in real life, especially if you want a house like this, without the fire, obviously. And naturally, if he pretends to be a superhero in a world where such things simply don't work, it is expected that his attitudes alienates others, and he comes out as one big dork, a goof, idiot that takes everything for one big game. His bad sense of humor suddenly makes sense. It's a shield that Lo has developed against constant harassment from the others. When someone says something unpleasant, just burn them with a one-liner. Shock and awe them with your confidence. While such petty reaction may just roll everyone else's eyes, in Lo's head, he's just killed the guy with his witty tongue. What is Lo Wang's story? His boss, Orochizilla, entrepreneur and crime linchpin, sends him to acquire a mythical sword, Nobitsurakage.
You got Wang.
Mr. Wang, this is Orochizilla.
I'm sorry. I'm on my way, sir. I can't talk. I'm, pre-visualizing.
Things have changed. You need to bring me the Nobitsurakage. I need it today.
No problem, sir. The guy's gonna sell $2 million for a shitty old sword.
Well, if he doesn't, just get it. Even if things get dirty.
If he doesn't, I need to apply the touch.
You got the touch!
Goddamn right!
You got the power!
The owner of the sword, however, is unwilling to provide it, regardless of financial compensation, so Lo Wang does what he does best, only for some mystical bullshit to stop him. The creature on the left is Hoji, your new buddy, but for now he works with the old man. You get captured and placed in the cage, only for the demonic invasion to crush the party and set you loose. Only then you find the old man is dead, his sword is gone, and Hoji, his demonic companion, is stuck. Turns out that he was banished from the Shadow Realm and his memory was taken. He is unable to manifest his veil without the vessel. And naturally, he offers you a deal. Both of you share the common goal. He wants the sword for revenge, you want it for your boss. You are the new vessel. Wait, is it like Dark Messiah of Might and Magic? Anyway, this pact allows you to cast your chi, and finally, though incidentally, Lo Wang has achieved one of his dreams of having superpowers. While you are chasing after the sword, Lo and Hoji are your main form of exposition. Together they discover a plot of Shadow Realm, long forgotten, but still ongoing story. The reason why the events of the game transpire.
So, the Shadow Realm. Is that hell?
No more than this place is. It's just different.
But it's full of demons.
Yes, but this place is full of humans.
And I have to confess, I did not pay much attention to the story at all. But once it gets its hooks in you, you will love it. It's a tragic tale of love, ambition, and betrayal. and it possesses certain Shakespearean quality. Not only it's well written, and I doubt I could make justice to such well-produced story. So, the only way for you to experience it is by playing the game. Good luck. Or, you know, you can go to Wikipedia, but seriously, play the game. The chemistry between Hoji and Lo is great, and their back and forth exchanges are oddly reminiscent of buddy cop movies.
Is it me, or are you actually enjoying yourself?
Man has to take pride in what he does best.
You really put the ass in Mass Murderer.
We also get to learn about one more additional trait that Lo Wang possesses, and this time it's a virtue.
Your boss seems to enjoy seeing himself 100 feet tall. What's that about?
I don't know. He's a visionary, I guess.
A visionary dickhead, it looks like.
You made armor for the demon invaders. Shut the fuck up.
Lo Wang may be a scoundrel, but he also has a decent amount of loyalty in him.
As I said, he is unharmed. A token of my goodwill.
The Nobitsura Kage. How much?
Did you see how this old master, who just lost half of his crew to your sword, cares more about your well-being than your boss cares about you at all? You are a non-factor for Zilla in this conversation. Yet Lo Wang sets to undo his failure and get the job done regardless the demonic circumstances. I personally would probably just run away. And eventually, Lo realizes who stands where and sides with Hoji. This is not unexpected at all, but it's the strongest element of the entire story. Not only is Lo Wang incredibly deep and interesting character, I especially appreciate his personal journey from a cocky, selfish cunt, who is still cocky cunt, but also a man who finally understands friendship and sacrifice that goes with it. It may sound cliché, but hey, stick with your traditional morally unrelenting white knights, who may act righteously in cutscenes, but also express persistent sociopathic behavior everywhere else. And look, I get it. This is how video games work. But if I get to choose... excuse me, I'd like to order one scumbag learning about friendship, please. Thank you very much. Shadow, warrior is pretty fucking neat. If you are a demon, you better like defeat. Lo Wang is coming, his bullet shine is stunning, his katana slashing, all hail to the king. Weapons feeling weak, falling to your knees. Who needs them anyway when she powers your feet? This fountain is gory, in the 90s glory, and the big kill streak is the game's story.
Look out! Ah! No! No! No, don't you dare! No, I command you! Stop! Stop right there! No! Don't shoot! Hey, get back here! No!